Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to this channel. I am your host, Justin Colby, and on this episode, we are gonna ask the question, is now a good time to buy a house? There's a lot of pros, there are still a lot of cons, so make sure to stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to this channel. My name is Justin Colby and I'm excited about this episode because we're talking about the subject of should you buy a house? Is it still a good time or not? Now, if this is the first time to this channel, I talk all things real estate investing, business, and entrepreneurship. So if those are subject matters you like, make sure you subscribe. Now, I want to talk about the obvious first, and then I want you guys to stay to the end where you'll hear my thoughts, opinions, and the supporting statistics on why I believe you should or should not be buying a home right now. Now, the obvious is it's still a really good time to buy a home because interest rates are still incredibly low. And here's the reality is the Fed is likely going to continue to keep us at an all-time low for as long as they possibly can because quite honestly, centralized government and centralized banking at this point are working together to keep the economy rolling as it has been. Now, while the interest rates are at an all-time low, let me give you a cautionary point. I don't want to see people going in and buying a home because they can afford it because they have a 2.85% interest rate because they're likely going to be buying too much of a house at too high of a price just because the interest rate is low. Here's the deal. You shouldn't be buying a home because you can afford the mortgage. You need to afford the house. What I mean by that? Well, statistics have shown roughly 1 to 3% of the cost of your home when you buy it, you will have maintenance cost in this. So 1 to 3% of maintenance every year, by the way. This isn't every 5 years or every 10 years. Every year, you're gonna have 1 to 3% of the cost of the home that you bought is gonna come out of your pocket. So if you are buying a home because your mom and dad or your grandparents are encouraging you to buy a home because that's what they did, then I would actually caution you not to. I would actually say you need to be a little bit more financially intelligent here, and just because you can afford the monthly payment doesn't mean you should afford the home. But I'll tell you, it is a good time to get low interest rates. Quite honestly, if you already own a home, you might be thinking about refinancing right now. Let's stick to mortgages. Another thing I would caution you about is how much down are you going to be putting on this home? Now, I'm a real estate investor. I've been flipping homes for over 14 years. And so I have a very unique perspective of home ownership. Quite honestly, my accountant thinks I'm overly investor minded, but to me, that's okay because I'm always looking for a way to make my money earn money. So if someone's asking me to put 20% down on a home, I need to think about that because can my money, the 20% down, can I go reinvest it in other things like rental properties, cryptocurrency, flipping homes, or otherwise that I can actually get a much better return on my dollar than dumping it into a home where essentially it just sits. Now, here's the big pro that everyone wants to bring to my attention when you watch a video like this. Well, yeah, but I've gained, 15 or 20% more equity over the last 1 year. And my reply to that individual is this. It is unrealized gains unless you sell. And if you bought your home in the last year, all the way up to 2 years, you need to be thinking about capital gains tax. Did you make enough money to allocate not just, your tax? Well, did you make enough money that you can pay the capital gains tax and put a large sum into your pocket to make your point in trying to prove me wrong? If you did that well, I would absolutely be shocked. Now, if you're liking this so far, make sure you smash the like button because this is food for thought. There's a lot of people out there right now buying homes, and in my opinion, incorrectly because they can afford the mortgage. But honestly, you should be paying attention to this. So if you're liking this, smash the like button. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so here's another point. If you're looking to buy a brand new home and you are putting 20% down, here's my challenge with this. Whether it's brand new or fully remodeled, my challenge here is this. We are at the top of the market. And honestly, you might not have many options because there's just not much inventory for you to go out and buy. So you're gonna be able to buy whatever's available, right? Well, while I understand that, and while I understand you're paying down your loan and you're putting 20% down so that way you don't have PMI. PMI is mortgage insurance. 20% down removes your PMI. I get that concept. But when you're buying at the top of the market, and likely we're gonna have some level of a rollback here. I don't know when. To be quite honest with you guys, I thought I had a pretty good crystal ball. And about a year ago, ever since this COVID thing, that crystal ball got shattered, right? Because I definitely would have suspected some level of rollback. I don't believe we were ever going to go back into a recession like we did, but I definitely predicted some level of a value rollback, I like to call it, maybe 5 or 10% loss in values. Absolutely did not happen. Sidebar here. As a sidebar, Phoenix, I just saw a statistic, over the last 12 months has appreciated almost 25% in 12 months. It is incredible. This time last year, as I record this video, we have gained almost $100,000 in equity if you were around and bought in Phoenix. It is wild, almost 25,000 or 25% appreciation. Now, that is mind-blowing, record highs. I do not believe that's going to continue. This is why I'm saying, if you don't have many properties on the market like we here in Phoenix don't, and your only options are either new builds or remodels, and you're putting 20% down, I don't necessarily believe that is the wisest decision. And by the way, if you're a hater and you think this is totally wrong, I want to hear about it in the comments. But here's why. Listen to this. If you have to put 20% down on a $500,000 home, which is that's the median price point now, like $450,000 is median price point here in Phoenix. You're putting down, let's just Bubba math it and saying you're putting down $100,000 onto your home. Where could you be investing that $100,000 to get a better return on your money than putting it into a home that likely over the next sometime, call it year to 3 years, we're gonna have a pretty major rollback. You're buying a home at the top of the market. And if we know anything about investing or buying anything, I understand some of you aren't thinking as an investor, but you never want to buy at the top of the market. Maybe you don't have to wait to the bottom of the market, but you never want to buy at the top. And we're at the top. And you're putting a huge down payment on top of that. So in that case, the pro here is you're really protecting yourself from the rollback, meaning you're gonna have plenty of equity that if you lose 10% value, you still have 10% equity, so you're not gonna be in a very difficult spot in terms of being underwater on that property. That is the pro. The con is, are you really dumping a lot of your money into an asset or potentially liability, by the way, that is actually at the top of the market? I would encourage you not to. And here's why. You can also get a 5% down loan. Yes, you are gonna have to pay PMI, but if you're able to reallocate that money and go, let's say, buy a rental, and that rental spits off rental income that is actually tax deductible because of how the IRS built our laws, you actually are making a better financial decision than putting a 20% down into this $500,000 property. Now, I'll do another video here so you guys can really catch up what I'm saying. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to tell you is I'm not a big, massive fan of you putting 20% down on an asset that is at the very highest it has ever been just so you can get a low interest rate. You combine that with the maintenance cost of owning the home and you're starting to catch my drift. You buy a $500,000 home and let's just say it's 1% maintenance cost every year. That's an extra $5,000 a year that you're gonna have to come out just to maintain the home out of pocket after taxes. So you've made the income, now it's in your pocket after taxes, and now you gotta shell out that $5,000. You can see the drift I'm going. If you're in alignment with my thought process here, I want you to smash that like button. I'd really appreciate that. By the way, if you are not in alignment, I wanna hear it below in the comments and why you aren't in alignment here. Now, here's some of the obvious. Yes, buy a home because you have the tax write-off of the interest and the tax write-off of the taxes. I get that. But again, the way I think and how I go about my daily life is I think very investor-minded. And again, my accountant tries to check me on some of this, but I really do believe if I'm thinking in this way, putting that much money in an asset that is at the top of the market, just really doesn't make any sense. Even if I can get a tax write-off for the interest and the taxes, I would rather go make more money with that money and yes, create more income, but have different write-offs. Obviously in the rental market, you have depreciation of a rental home, etc. I'd rather that opportunity than to buy a home just because I have a tax write-off of interest and taxes. Quite honestly, if I'm not making enough money, or if you're not making enough money to reallocate some of this money, and this is your goal, is just to get some of this tax write-offs. By the way, it should be, just so we're clear. I want you to rethink this. I want you to start watching a bunch of my videos because I want you to rethink the reason behind buying a home. And lastly, guys, and here's the big whammy that I really believe, is I actually wouldn't buy a remodeled home or buy a new home. And here is why. Because if you can buy a home and put some of your own love into it, right now I've been flipping homes for 14 years, so this is pretty obvious for me. I've been, but if you can find a home that needs updating, that is all original, it was built maybe in 1970 and it's a totally original home, clean, nice, but if you can buy it properly and put value into it, you then increase the value of your home. So then in the case of PMI, you actually might be able to go back to the bank after you've remodeled the home, increasing the value of the home, and actually because of that increase, let's say you put $25,000 in the property and you've increased this value by $50,000 or $75,000, then you actually might be able to remove the PMI simply by doing a simple refinance and showing that you have at least 20% equity. Now, when it comes to should you buy a home or not, to clearly answer you guys, in my opinion, it simply depends on what outcome you want. For me, it would be, I want to buy a property that I'm willing to remodel so that I can create more value, so I can actually not have to come in with so much cash, create the value that they're looking for, which is a minimum of 20% because of the remodel that I did. And then I can actually have the best of both worlds, where I might only be into it for a very, very small amount of money, sometimes even less than 5%, to be honest with you. And I then get the tax write-offs, the taxes and the interest, and then I also have the ability to take the cash I would have put 20% down on because that's what people advise. And then I can go reallocate that cash into actually building wealth, which is quite honestly what we're all here to do, isn't it? So I would actually reallocate that over here. So my final answer is this: make sure you're buying for the right reasons. Understand the outcome of why you're buying. Do not just buy because your family says you should, or because your accountant says you have a tax write-off because of interest and the taxes and interest are a tax write-off for you. And lastly, do not buy if you are buying simply because the interest rates are low and you can afford the monthly payment. If that is why you're buying, I am a hard no, absolutely not. And I would continue for you to continue to keep renting and put your money in other investments that can actually make you more money. And then if you do it that way, you can actually grab your money and go buy the rental or go buy your home from extra income you're making from your rentals. So with that said, guys, I know interest rates are an all-time low. The market is at an all-time high. I do believe there will be a rollback. I don't really care about the interest and tax savings that you have because I don't believe that's a reason to buy a home. And yeah, at the end of the day, I don't believe now is the right time for someone to be buying a home unless they have thought with the end in mind first, they have a play. And lastly, sorry to bring this up last, but ultimately it takes roughly 7 to 10 years for someone to kind of break even with all-in cost into their home. So if you are not looking to be in this home for the next 7 to 10 years, do not buy a home. End of story. I hope this helped. If you like this, if you can at least appreciate where I'm coming from, smash that like button. And again, if this is your first time to this channel, make sure you subscribe. I have daily videos going out for you guys. And lastly, if you are a real estate investor and you want someone to hold your hand to level up your business or even just get started in real estate investing, if that interests you, go over to thescienceofflipping.com, fill out a form. Part of my executive team will have a call with you and to feel out if I'm the right coach for you. I personally coach you and to help you level up your business, get started in your business, find more profitability, hire, grow, and scale. If you're interested in any of that, go to thescienceofflipping.com. I would love to be your coach. I will personally be working with you if you have interest. Again, thescienceofflipping.com. Fill out a form. Part of my executive team will get on the phone with you to feel out if we are a good match. But besides that, guys, I appreciate you. I hope you enjoy this. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. Make sure you write it in the comments so we can have a conversation. Peace.